What is up, guys? Welcome into the show. Trying to get everything going here. We got a few minutes before the radio program officially kicks off. Welcome, and happy post-Monday. Dude, we are 2 days away from Thanksgiving. Is that not mind-boggling? Good golly. It is hard to believe that we are that close away to the holidays officially upon us. Welcome into the show. Got a lot to talk about today. As usual, bottom of the hour, we have Blaine Pardoe. He is author of multiple books. His latest one, Blue Dawn. As we talk about violence, hysterisy, craziness from the left side of the aisle. We'll have some fun talking with him. He's kind of the target of a lot of that on many occasions. So we'll get his pick his brain a little bit on the latest attacks on conservatives across the nation and how that may increase again with Donald Trump announcing for president to run all over again. Then we have some good news today. It's like the hits keep on coming for the other side as the old establishment, the old guard officially walking away from their duties and walking away. Now that they've made their billions of dollars, they just don't care no more. And they're deciding to just give it up and go live their lives after they screwed up the country. So we'll get to that today. We have some updates from the Georgia runoff Senate race. We have some health care bills that I think you should be aware of coming out of Washington, D.C. and more. I know we're not going to cover all this in in a single hour. I know. Very well aware. But we're going to do the darndest that we can, at least give you a little bit of a tease of what's going on in the world. So welcome in. Trying to get everything going here. We have the OpsLens on OpsLens.com, the OpsLens app, OpsLens.com. We also have the social media from OpsLens as well, our YouTube channel and Twitch channel and Facebook channel, and I think that's about it. Twitter, we have Twitter. We have our Instagram, TikTok as well. Don't do the video on there, but we are there. Also, the audio feed on Podbean. Yeah, what's up, Jim? Welcome. A little bit of time here before the radio program starts. If this is the first time you're listening in, then welcome aboard. We are the conservative voice for the young generation. And by young, I mean the millennials that are getting older that don't seem to be the young ones anymore. Steve, what's up? If you are on the video stream on the social media, let me know what state you're listening from. Would love to hear. We are working on getting some more radio affiliates with us, and if you like the show, then we'll try and get it in your market.
30 seconds till broadcast.
It's what we do. Until then, though, if you are on some of the social media feeds or online feeds, like it, share it, leave a comment, break that algorithm, let people know we're here. Let's have some fun. Got a lot to cover today. Hang tight. Program starting here in just a moment.
Five, 4, 3, 2, 1. Begin transmission.
Fighting for freedom every day.
You as the individual, you have the power. You don't have to join a union. You go in as an entry-level position. You get the experience that you need. And then as you work up, you get better at your job, which means they pay you more. If they don't pay you more, then you go to another company to show what you've learned and what your value is to where you can get more. If they really don't like that, then you can go and start your own damn business because we have a free market, laissez-faire, capitalist society, allegedly, to where you can actually go off and do your own thing.
This is the Voice of Reason with Andy Hooser.
You are darn right it is. Welcome into the program. It is the post-Monday celebration, the greatest day of the entire week. And we are just a couple of days away from Thanksgiving as well. A holiday upon us. Hopefully you're excited about it as much as I am. I have been expanding the belly a little bit to try and fit in as much of that turkey as I possibly can. It's going to be a fun time. Welcome into the show. This is the Voice of Reason. I am Andy Hooser, broadcasting live out of the heart of the nation here in Wichita, Kansas, on our flagship radio station. We are all over the country, radio, TV, live streaming, and podcasting. However you watch or listen to the show, welcome aboard. We love you to death. You're a millennial general reporting for duty like we do every single day. Bottom of the hour, Blaine Pardo. It's been a while since we've had him on the program. He is author of multiple books, most of them fiction. His latest book, Blue Dawn, the most chilling what-ifs in history. As we talk about the potential of what could happen down the road, he's been the focal point of attacks from the left side of the aisle pretty frequently. The left mob absolutely hates him, so we'll have him on the program and talk about hostility. Is it getting better? And now that Donald Trump's announced for presidency, will it start picking back up again across the nation? So we'll do that at the bottom of the hour. We have a heck of a lot to talk about today. Before we get into the serious topic of the day, I am curious, at what point do we just throw money at things just for the sake of throwing money at things and have no way to actually bring back that money? Have you seen the budget for these new movies nowadays in Hollywood? They're insane. Now, again, for those that don't know, I don't care for the CGI effects a whole lot. I don't care for the new futuristic stuff, man, where you just act in front of a green screen. I like the good old stuff. I like the action movies. I like the B-actions. Sylvester Stallone movies just get better with time. He just gets more seasoned as he goes along. Arnold Schwarzenegger is okay. He's there as well. Jason Statham, I haven't seen in a long time, and I kind of miss. Jean-Claude Van Damme, another great B-movie action hero out there. Those are the kind of movies that I like and enjoy. I don't care for the new futuristic superhero stuff. You have to have a superpower. Not into it. I just don't care. And I know that's out of the norm for my generation. I get it. It's all the nostalgic Batman, Superman, Spider-Man kind of stuff. I just don't care. They've rerun it 3 different times. The best Spider-Man was the one when I was a child with, I can't remember his name now, but it doesn't really matter. The good one. The good one. Who was it? Hilary Duff? Was she the gal that played opposite Spider-Man? Was that her? I don't remember because I don't pay attention to those stuff. The new budget for the Avatar 2 movie. If you didn't know, they're making a new Avatar. After however many years since they made the first one, which was a big hit, it was okay. It was neat. It was like CGI to the extent, so people like freaked out. I remember back then, all the environmentalists and all the ones that like to think the Earth is like the most important thing on the face of the Earth, theoretically speaking, pun intended, is that I remember stories of people committing suicide because they fell in such a deep depression wishing they could live on the Avatar planet, whatever that planet was. I remember that. I don't know why they didn't make a second one quickly after because of how much money they made, but they are now making a second Avatar. And do you know how much it's going to cost? They need to make $2 billion. That's with a B. $2 billion just to break even on this film. That's insane, man. That's insane. Now, I'll probably watch it. The new movie, Avatar, The Way of Water. I don't know what it's supposed to be, but apparently it's going to be the biggest movie of the year, as they have a budget alone in the $250 million range for some portions of it by itself, just in the CGI effects. $250 million just in the CGI effects, then the acting and everything that goes along with it. Post-production, it's going to be close to a $2 billion film. So I reiterate the question, how much money do we just throw at things for the sake of throwing at things because we want it to be cool and we think that we have to take it to the next level? No movie is worth $2 billion. Especially the movie of Washington, D.C. I mean, that's worth a penny right now, and that's hilarious to watch, and that's way more entertaining than what we're going to get out of Avatar 2. As we get into our what's trending for our story of the day.
What's trending today?
So, what's trending today is Donald Trump. Can we say Donald Trump did this? I think we can.
That's right. Donald Trump did that.
I think we can say that he did it. He's gotten so much pressure that he's finally stepping away. He says he's retiring. He says he's stepping away because he's done all that he can do, but we're still in a quote-unquote pandemic, according to the Washington, D.C. and the politicians in D.C. We're not quite out of the COVID pandemic yet, so the fact that he's stepping down now kind of raises some eyebrows. But Anthony Fauci from Washington, D.C., the highest paid federal employee during the COVID-19 pandemic, the head of the whatever department that he's in, because it's a really long one that I don't really care about, he is officially stepping down, and today was his last press conference to say farewell to Washington before he drifts off into the wilderness and is never seen again, right? No, it's really actually not the case. This is what he had to say today, though, in front of the press.
I'll let other people judge the value or not of my accomplishments, but what I would like people to remember about what I've done is that every day for all of those years, I've given it everything that I have, and I've never left anything on the field. So if they want to remember me, whether they judge rightly or wrongly what I've done, I gave it all I got for many decades.
There it is. He gave it all he had. He did the best that he could. He gave it everything that he had. And whatever legacy that's going to come out is what's going to come out, and that's all he really cares about. The legacy that you're going to leave, Dr. Anthony Fauci, is that you were a liar, that you handled all the pandemics that were under your administration or under your eyesight, under your oversight. You handled them terribly. From AIDS back in the 80s and the 90s to COVID-19 all the way to 2020, you handled them absolutely horribly. Innocent individuals died. People got sick unnecessarily. The country locked down. It destroyed its economy. It completely devastated itself over your policies, from lying, from making us do unnecessary things, and from telling us unfactual information. That is going to be your legacy. And again, you can look at the comparisons of the failures that he had from the AIDS pandemic in the 80s and then all the way to COVID-19 right now. That is going to be your legacy, and that's what we will tell our young generations. When we are old and have our long gray beards and we're telling the young whippersnappers about the world, and we get back to the time where they actually pay attention to the elders and try to teach stories about story time and learning and understanding the way things were back in the day when we actually had freedoms before socialism took over in the nation, we're going to say there was this one guy that really kind of broke the mold and took things to the level that began the Great Reset on what we're seeing right now, and that man's name was Dr. Anthony Fauci, where he completely botched multiple different medical pandemics and viral pandemics in this nation, where unnecessarily people died, and he gave wrong information to where he locked us down, and we thought it was a good thing, and we went along with it. That, my friends, will be the legacy of Dr. Anthony Fauci. Do you agree? Because I'm kind of happy. First, we got rid of Nancy Pelosi last week. Now we got rid of Anthony Fauci today. I think that, ladies, we should be celebrating. I am thankful. We're 2 days away from Thanksgiving. Lord, I'm thankful for multiple things in my life, and that's just one of them. Now, of course, on his way out, he was taking some Q&A from some of the media, and, of course, he had to double down on what he's been trying to promote for the last couple of years.
Are the vaccines safe? That keeps coming up. The answer is now, overwhelmingly, it should be off the table. There have been 13 billion doses of a COVID-19 vaccine that have been distributed worldwide, hundreds of millions in the United States, and there's robust safety monitoring systems that are in place, and clearly an extensive body of information clearly indicates that they're safe. Next, are they effective? I believe you are all aware of this. If you look at the striking data, overwhelmingly show the effectiveness of vaccines, particularly in preventing severe illness and deaths. And recent data that has come out indicate that if in fact you are vaccinated and boosted compared to an unvaccinated person, there's a 14 times lower risk of dying in the most recent BA.4/5 era compared to unvaccinated, and at least a 3 times lower risk of testing positive compared to the unvaccinated individual.
Again, lies, and more lies. Now, if you want to look at one portion, I wish on radio you could see my eyes roll. Can you feel it? Can you feel my eyes rolling during those statements? Again, get the vaccine, don't get the vaccine. We've talked about that for the last 2 years. We don't need to go down that road a whole lot. But what he's talking about is just factually untrue for the mass population. If you look at, and again, I'm not a doctor, so take it with a grain of salt, but we've talked to enough doctors, and I think I have an idea of what we're talking about on this show. We're no experts by any means, but we regurgitate what the experts say. The ones that actually don't try to cover up and hide things about, the China virus and the impracticality of the masks and how they don't actually do anything. And in the vaccines, where he's making millions upon millions upon millions of dollars by being part patent owners of these vaccines and dominating it with federal contracts. So, as we talk about the effectiveness of the vaccines, the vaccine can potentially be effective at limiting symptoms and helping individuals that are in the categories and the demographics of those that are most vulnerable with those. I've never said don't go get a vaccine. I've said not everybody needs a vaccine of COVID-19. That's been our consistent stance on this program since the beginning of it. And voila, look at that. We're 2.5 years into this thing, and we're still alive and still kicking. And most of my listeners are as well, as far as I know. Maybe could be wrong. Who knows? But the special demographics that we know of, it's very clear. They keep saying this is for the entire mass population instead of really looking at the demographics that actually need it. The elderly, the ones that have crazy immune compromised systems, the ones with extreme comorbidities, and the ones that are extremely obese. Those are the demographics that need to be cautious. If you're extremely overweight and unhealthy and have an unhealthy lifestyle, then you're more prone to having your lungs fail with COVID-19 because your lungs are already strained with trying to breathe oxygen into your over heavily body. And I'm not trying to fat shame anybody in any way, shape, or form. I'm simply saying living that type of lifestyle is going to have more health risks to it. Do what you do. I don't really care. I could lose a few pounds myself. The elderly that already have immune compromised systems obviously need a little bit more protection. The ones that have comorbidity issues or already have pre-existing conditions, if you have an autoimmune system, then yeah, you probably need a little bit more protection. Whatever that may be, you choose what that is. He's looking at those demographics and then trying to lay those regulations onto everybody, which is what Democrats and progressives usually like to do, isn't it? They find the minority that's like 0.5% of the population, and they say, these people are being treated poorly. We need to create legislation for the entire mass to try and pander to them because they are the victims, and we need to look at them and focus on them. The average working individual that is below 60 years old, that doesn't have a health risk or have any prior existing conditions, that rate of death or hospitalization is extremely low. And is in fact comparable to the average flu and who gets hospitalized with the flu in those age ranges and those health conditions. The ones that are healthy don't need all of that stuff, but they continuously don't care. In fact, he continues on again by saying the only way to get out of the pandemic is the herd immunity through vaccination.
I think we're going is that sooner or later, and I hope it's sooner, we're going to equilibrate to a low level when there's enough background cross protection that unless we get a completely far way out different variant, we're likely going to see a continued lowering and lowering. Maybe we're going to see blips at winter and stuff, but hopefully it gets down. The message that Dr. Jarrah and I are trying to get to you today is that we can make that happen much sooner.
With vaccinations. The lies just continue. Thank God this guy is out. Hopefully we can get someone with more common sense in there to run the government's health departments. Lots more coming up. Stay here.
The Voice of Reason with Andy Hooser.
Andy Hooser here, reminding you not only can you listen to the Voice of Reason on your favorite radio station, but also check out the video of the program on TV and online. We're excited to be working with our partners over at OpsLens to bring the Voice of Reason live every day on their website at opslens.com, on the OpsLens app that you can download on any of your smartphones, or on any of the OpsLens social media. It's a great network that broadcasts multiple shows promoting truth, reason, and common sense, reaching thousands of viewers every day, all day long. Plus, while you're there, you can always watch some of the best highlights of the show during the weekends or read our latest opinion columns on topical issues of the day. Also, if you want to interact with me during the program, just leave a comment on their social media or the OpsLens app stream. You can always join the live chat rooms, or if it's easier, just email me at HooserMediaNetwork@gmail.com. Again, that's HooserMediaNetwork@gmail.com. This is your show, and we want to hear from you. Why? Because it's time for you to be your own voice of reason in your own community. Hey, it's Andy Hooser. Want to reach out to the show? A big part of the program is you, and we want to hear from you. Let us know your thoughts of the show, maybe a guest we've had on the program, or my favorite, when you disagree with something that I talk about. You can email me at HooserMediaNetwork@gmail.com or send us a message through our website at HooserReason.com. The show's not about me, it's about you. So be heard and be your own voice of reason. Again, email me at HooserMediaNetwork@gmail.com or find our contact information at HooserReason.com. Hey, it's Andy Hooser. You want some more reason throughout the day? Well, now it's easier than ever to find. Here's what you do. Check out the website at HooserReason.com. There you can find past shows, links to all of our social media, special features, our monthly blogs, and a heck of a lot more. Plus, make sure to check in frequently, as we're constantly working to add more goodies that you'll really enjoy. Also, you can always subscribe and follow our social media sites for bonus content, articles that we use on the show, or maybe some additional rants. Yeah, it's all that and so much more. Check it all out at HooserReason.com. Hey, it's Andy Hooser with the Voice of Reason. The show's growing all the time, and as we talk about the big issues of the day, one of the big parts of the program is you. And I want you to join us on the program. Whether you agree, disagree, or just want to relieve some of that political frustration, we're here for you. No matter where you may be watching, Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, go ahead and leave a comment on the live stream. Chat with other listeners and let me know your thoughts on the topic. Also chat with us on the Podbean chat room. Just go to our live stream of the show at podbean.com and chat with other listeners. You can also call into the program. Just download the Podbean app onto your smartphone, join the live stream, and call in through the app. This is your show, and we want to hear your thoughts. So go ahead and join us here on the Voice of Reason and the Hooser Media Network. Hey, miss a show? Don't worry about it. You have plenty of opportunities to watch, listen, learn, and be entertained with the Voice of Reason anytime you want. And here's how you can do it. First, become a Hooserholic by going to HooserReason.com and signing up for the show newsletter to get the latest on the show, upcoming guests, topical discussions, and more. Next, subscribe to the podcast and have the show automatically downloaded to any platform you like to use. You can subscribe through any of your favorite platforms with iTunes and Spotify, Google Play and TuneIn, or you can also go and subscribe directly to our Podbean website. Last, subscribe to the YouTube channel. Just go to youtube.com, search Hooser Reason, and subscribe to watch all of our shows, videos, and get notified whenever we're live. All the links and info are at HooserReason.com. For a schedule of upcoming guests on the program, daily show topics, or to reach out to the Hooser Media Network, visit us on the website at HooserReason.com. Or for general inquiries, to be a guest on the program, or to have Andy a guest on your program, email us at HooserMediaNetwork@gmail.com. Keep fighting for freedom with us every day right here on the Voice of Reason and the Hooser Media Network. Now, back to the show.
Bring some reason into your day. This is the Voice of Reason with Andy Hooser.
Lord, I'm thankful for many things. This coming up Thanksgiving, and one of the biggest things I'm thankful for is the fact that Nancy Pelosi is out. She's done. I'm also thankful for now the stepping away of Anthony Fauci and his disaster of an administration trying to handle this COVID pandemic over the last 2 years and what he's done, the lies, the shenanigans, the manipulation of this entire pandemic. I'm done with it. And this push of this ridiculous vaccine on everybody instead of just letting people choose if they want it or not is absolutely insane. And he contradicts himself over and over and over again. While he says, look, I mean, again, it's common sense for us to understand that a vaccine, if you get a vaccine for, let's say, the flu, then the flu still gets in you. You still have it. It doesn't like put a barrier up and you just live in a bubble. No, I've used this a numerous amount of times with the doctors that we've had on the program. There are billions of viral cells floating around the air right now, breathing in, breathing out as you live in a biological world. It's right there, right in front of you as we speak. Every time you breathe. For all the germaphobes out there, I'm sorry, but it's the reality. Now, when you take something like a vaccine for COVID or a flu vaccine, then what your body does is it's being exposed to a tiny portion of it, so that way it knows how to build an immunity, so that way when you get exposed to it, you still have it, but yet you're able to fight it off easier. That's the entire point of a vaccine. The mRNA vaccine is a little bit different because, it's literally telling your body what to fight instead of how to fight. So the concern, as we've talked to Dr. Robert Malone on this program, who designed the mRNA vaccine technology, was that if you take it enough, essentially your body doesn't know how to fight off anything any longer because it becomes so dependent on just giving you the stuff to fight it off, it forgets how to create the antibodies and fight things off naturally. That's the concern of the mRNA technology. And Dr. Fauci, but regardless of that, let's set that aside for a second. Dr. Fauci says that if you take the vaccine, then you'll just test negative for COVID, which is untrue because you'll still test positive because it's still in your system. The whole purpose of the vaccine is just to have less symptoms of it when you do get exposed and may get it. But yet he doesn't say that.
I think we're going is that sooner or later, and I hope it's sooner, we're going to equilibrate to a low level when there's enough background cross protection that unless we get a completely far way out different variant, we're likely going to see a continued lowering and lowering. Maybe we're going to see blips at winter and stuff, but hopefully it gets down. The message that Dr. Jarrah and I are trying to get to you today is that we can make that happen much sooner by vaccinating and by keeping updating on your booster. It's just really as simple as that. We're going to get there. We can get there with less suffering if we use the interventions that we have. If you want to let nature take its course, we're ultimately going to get there, but we're going to lose a lot more people than we need to.
Okay, not true at all, but that's his hatred against natural immunity because he just doesn't trust it, as most science, unfortunately, doesn't trust it nowadays. But while he's just pushing this new booster, it's going to turn into the flu shot to where we don't know the strain. We don't know the brand. We don't know the variant that's going to be out this season. Is it going to be Omicron? Is it going to be Omicron 2.0? Is it going to be the Delta? Is it going to be the BA.1? Whatever the hell all these different variants are. And they're going to guess, just like the flu, they're going to guess which strain is going to be prevalent. Then they're going to make booster shots that you're going to get every 6 months, every year during flu season or whatever. You're going to get the two together. And they're going to guess, and then you're going to hope that you actually got the right one. Because that's what we do with the flu. There are so many different flu variants and influenza variants out there that you don't know which one's going to be prevalent. So the government hopes they pick the 2 or 3 most prevalent. Then they make the flu shots for it, and then you get it, and then you see whether it actually happened to be the right one or not. Because if it's a different strain, then it doesn't work with the virus, and the vaccine doesn't help you at all. And it doesn't cure you. It doesn't keep you protected. Then you still get sick. So you got the shot and you got the flu. I've never gotten a flu shot. I haven't gotten the COVID-19 vaccine. I have no intention to get either one of them anytime soon. My family does not plan to do so either. If you, all the power to you, but thank God this guy is gone. The lies, the manipulation, and oh, by the way, you're not done. This isn't the last time we're going to see you, Dr. Fauci, because we're going to see you on the stand when the House, run by the Republicans, are opening up the investigations, and we start calling out the lies and everything that you hid from us, including the China involvement, including your involvement with China and everything related to it as well. Lots more coming up. Blaine Pardo around the corner. Stay here.
The Voice of Reason with Andy Hooser.
Hey, it's Andy Hooser. You know, when I get off the air every day, the battle for me against limited government, censorship, and even unfactual content is far from over. That's why now I'm so happy to say that the Hooser Media Network is giving you more opportunity to catch the Voice of Reason along with other great shows and podcasts. It's been a long time in the works, and now you can finally enjoy more great content, services, and topical shows. We're the safe space for alternative talk, information, and ideas that the mainstream media absolutely hates. From holistic and alternative medicine, discussions on religion and spirituality, pure entertainment shows, and of course yours truly with the Voice of Reason. Plus, we offer numerous media services, including helping you set up your own podcast. Become your own voice of reason and bring your expertise to any fun issue or topic. For information on all of our shows, links to podcasts, each show website or social media link, or to find out about everything we do to challenge the mainstream establishment, visit our website at HooserMedia.com. Again, that's HooserMedia.com, the future of media. Welcome to the Hooser Media Network. It's been a long time coming, and now it's growing bigger and better than we ever imagined. The Hooser Media Network is so much more than just the voice of reason. It's a network for you as a listener and you as a podcaster. It's a network for any kind of talk on any kind of topic, bringing podcasters together to give you a new way to think about the world, and it's any type of show from entertainment to educational. Check out all of our great programs, like Dr. Devin Verana with If They Knew.
Yeah, and it gives you tangible tools. I mean, I'm sure she just mentioned that some people might be mad at the government. I just can't imagine.
No.
I think there's a little bit of anger in the world these days, but I was listening to Wayne Dyer this morning, and he said, if you grab an orange and you squeeze it, what comes out? Juice. What kind of juice? Orange juice every time, right? It's not going to be apple juice. It's never going to be mango juice. It's always going to be orange juice. So whatever is in us is going to come out when we're squeezed. And so I'm sure you're learning that, like, taking yourself through this process continually just adds more and more power, more and more depth of compassion and joy and freedom and all those good feeling things, because you're clearing that space out.
Yes, exactly.
I love it. Now take people, so for anybody listening out there that might have an object of anger, whether it's somebody or something or, objects out in the world these days, take us into some tactical, practical things that they can do. Number one, I'm sure, is to come see you, but what are some other things?
So I skipped that one on purpose when I was going through this, but the first book that changed my life, and I listened to it before I signed up for I listened to her 1 hour Zoom before I signed up for the class. She was interviewing a man who told us about a book called The Four Agreements. And so then when you get into the class, we study the book called Forgive for Good by Fred Luskin. And we went through a process by Michael Brown called The Presence Process. These are all 3 books. And I hate to be this honest, but let me be this honest. You can read those 3 books and know everything I'm going to teach you. But like any good class, I mean, just because I signed up for a class in college, I buy the books. You really need someone to guide you through them.
That, plus tune into Spiritual Smorgasbord with Desiree and Cheyenne.
It is, and we talked about that because then, of course, other things started to happen after that. Of course, that was not my last doctor's visit, by no means. However, we talked about it, and I thought, our ancestors were so smart. They know, whatever ails us, there's a cure for on this planet. We're just not smart enough to know how to use it, but our ancestors were. We need to get back to that. Modern medicine, basically what that is it is what you get from the plant, the healing benefit, just on steroids with side effects.
Yes.
And so a lot of people, modern medicine is considered sexy. It's fast resolving. It's instant gratification. But, and so like plant-based formula, the raw, natural plant-based formula is what is going to work. It's going to be great. It just takes a while. And people want that instant gratification.
Oh, yes.
So a lot of people try something.
It's been marketed to them that way too.
It
They're like, oh, that's the old way. It's going to take you forever. But if you just take this, you wake up tomorrow and you can have whatever you want.
Exactly.
You can do whatever you want.
But at what cost?
Yeah.
Right. I mean,
my leg is broken, but have some Oxycontin.
Yes.
It's like, dude, your leg is still severely broken. Right. You just can't feel anything.
Yeah. And it's like, so let's go to nature. Let's see.
Yeah.
You know what? There's pain relievers in nature. Marijuana is a great pain reliever.
Yes.
For one. I mean, just
mentally and physically.
Yes. Well, I mean, but there's other remedies out there. And everything that ails us, there's a cure for on this planet.
This whole room smells like peppermint.
We're all getting cured.
We're all getting cured right now. It's a beautiful essential oil I bought from a local, I guess you could say, apothecary shelf, but I'm getting healed right now.
Yes, exactly. It is. And it's all around us. We just need to know how to look for it. And I'm sorry, but that's kind of what we were discussing. And that kind of was what started this whole journey. And what I'm very fortunate that my spouse and I are together on this. It's not just one of us having a spiritual journey. It's that we're doing this together.
Listen to those shows and so much more on our website, where you can find live streaming, links to the podcast, links to social media, more content, and so much more. It's all online at HooserMedia.com.
When Reason Meets Radio. You're listening to the Voice of Reason with Andy Hooser.
Reason, common sense, rationale. That's what we try to do here on this program. Welcome back in. Trying to cram that 10 pounds of reason into that 5-pound bag. Trying to rebrand the millennial generation, one radio listener at a time. Always appreciate you hanging out with us today, as always. As we kind of wrap up this conversation with Dr. Fauci on the way out. Hey, I've done my deal. I've screwed up another pandemic, all the way from the AIDS to COVID-19, and yet he still hasn't learned his lesson. He's made his millions of dollars. Now he's on the way out. I'm out, baby. I'm going to disappear. Although he will be showing up for investigations. It was kind of funny as he was asking the questions. Of course, they didn't take any questions from some of the conservative reporters there, which they never like to do. So they tried to ask questions, and that's when the woman herself, the strong, independent, liberal woman, Karine Jean-Pierre, tried to step in and take order, right?
We have a process here. I'm not calling out on people who yell. And you're being disrespectful to your colleagues, and you're being disrespectful to our guests. I will not call on you if you yell. And also, you're taking time off the clock because Dr. Fauci has to leave in a couple of minutes. I'm done. I'm not getting into a back and forth with you. Go ahead, Jeremy.
Dr. Fauci,
But she's
only
Done. Over. Ain't gonna do that. Boy, taking the firm stance on that one. Let's go to our guest here. What do you say with our latest and what's trending?
What's trending today?
It's good to have this guy back on the program. Been a little bit since we've chatted with him. He is the author of numerous books. His latest one, Blue Dawn, as he's a fiction writer, but not necessarily all about fiction, at least with what some of the projects we'll talk about here a little bit later as well. Mr. Blaine Pardoe. Blaine, how are you, my friend?
I'm doing great, Andy. It's a wonderful day in America.
It's always a wonderful day in America. I tell you, the last 2 weeks, we're coming up on Thanksgiving on Thursday. I'm thankful for two major things in my life, among obviously other things. But the ousting of Nancy Pelosi and now the ousting of Dr. Anthony Fauci, I think we're on a good track for America for 2023. What do you think?
Yeah, I'm kind of seeing it as positive. We've got to deal with the Trump factor still out there, but and the Republicans are going to have to come to terms with Trump in some way, shape, or form, either as a candidate or in some other way. But I got to tell you, this is really going to be an interesting year that's coming up.
That is very true. The transition from Fauci into whoever it's going to be, I haven't seen a name mentioned yet. I've heard that he's going to be part of the committee to try and choose the next head of his departments and heading up the medical issues at the federal level. Are we done with ramming through these mandates, the vaccine stuff, the vax stuff? I mean, he still, during this press conference, still talked about trying to mandate vaccines and talking about how the vaccines are the only way we're going to get to a herd immunity, which I thought we were already at, but apparently not, that we're only going to get to that point if everybody gets vaccinated and all of the boosters on top of that as well. Are we going to be done with this stuff and actually get to move forward, or is this going to be lingering for a while?
Well, you got to remember one thing. The vaccines were never about actually trying to stop the spread of COVID. The vaccines were all about control. And politicians learned to love the control that it allowed them. You mentioned in your one segment that, Biden has once more extended the student loan payments. Well, that was all done under the emergency acts for COVID. He doesn't actually have the authority to do that otherwise.
Yeah.
So this is all about power and control, and I've never known politicians to surrender that willingly. So we're not out of the dark with this. They love what it can do. And there's a whole segment of the American population that honestly likes being scared. They've been conditioned for it now for 2 years, and they jump every time something comes up. They react and overreact to it.
That is very true. You're absolutely right. The power from the Biden administration, you give an inch, they take 2 miles, and you're right. Whether it's a new agency or department, whether it's a new piece of legislation, once it's there, it never goes away. And the perfect example of that, I think, was Obamacare, where Republicans tried to pass, like 7 or 8 different bills when they had Congress but didn't have the presidency, saying, hey, we're going to repeal Obamacare as soon as we get back in office and we have the majority in both chambers and the presidency. And then once that happened, we need to redraw up some stuff at the drawing board. We can't really do this. We have to really work on that. And yet here, all these years later, we still have Obamacare. It doesn't go away, and it's concerning because while everybody focuses on that great reset that COVID did, we are seeing a lot of those changes that are becoming more of a standard norm in society.
Yeah, it's gotten out of control, and the politicians love the fact that they can manipulate with their allies in the media what people think and how people react. And it's horribly out of control. We saw it with Hunter Biden. We're seeing it now. They will portray Fauci as the greatest thing that ever happened, despite the fact he created a vaccine that doesn't actually vaccinate anything.
That is true. I want to talk about real quickly some of the investigations before we get into Trump and moving forward. But now that Republicans have the House of Representatives, the January 6th committee is going to go to the wayside slowly. We are starting investigations on Fauci, as he admitted that he will be there to testify when they call upon him to do so for COVID-19. We also have the investigations opening up on the Biden family and the Hunter Biden laptop, finally, after all these years of the FBI having it in their possession. I like the sounds of these investigations, but my big concern is it just going to stay as an investigation without any indictments or prosecution at the end of the day? I don't care if we investigate people day in and day out, but I want to see some results at the end of the day. I don't want it to turn into a Hillary Clinton scenario of, at what point does it really matter? And I guess we can just move on from now that the information's out and do what you will with it.
Well, I don't know if we're ever going to get the results, but bear in mind that the Democrats changed the rules when they impeached Trump twice. And they knew that this was never going to fly. They knew that they hadn't even, the second time, done an actual investigation. They simply jumped to impeachment. They declared him guilty, impeached him, and then they started the January 6th committee to do the investigation. A classic congressional move, of absolute, utter stupidity. It doesn't matter if somebody gets indicted. What matters is that these things get made public and that they get expressed in the media and people get to hear that information. Now, whether that'll happen with our mainstream media, we're already seeing cracks in that. CBS has now covered, for example, the Hunter Biden laptop rather extensively and said, yes, it is actually valid. It's real. I want different things than what different people want. I don't think you're ever going to pin Joe Biden on this as much, but I want it brought out in the public. I want the 50 intelligence experts who came out and said this was all Russian disinformation. I want the heads of Facebook and Twitter who blocked this story from being broadcast. I want them brought up to Capitol Hill because I want them to be charged with election interference, because that's what they did. They deliberately interfered with an election. They were completely wrong. They knew it, and they did it. And they need to be held accountable. I hope they impeach Biden if he's guilty of anything. Impeach him. Whether he'll be found guilty in a trial in the Senate, no, that's not going to happen. But the rules of the game have changed. The Democrats have showed that impeachment is a club and a tool to be used. And the Republicans would be ignorant if they didn't take advantage of it and play by the new rules of the game.
Amen to that. We're talking with Blaine Pardoe. You can find him online at blainepardoe.com. See all of his multiple books that he has. Let's shift gears to Trump for a second. After the announcement last week of running for president again in 2024, we're going from one election with the midterms right into another one without any breath, which I'm sure is exhausting for many. We've seen a lot of hostility, obviously, over the Trump administration's reign, with the Democrats just losing their minds, justifying themselves to beat people up that have MAGA hats on, or to silence those that are on the conservative side that are part of the domestic terrorist, most radical political organization in the history of the country, that is the MAGA and the ultra MAGA. Is that what we get to look forward to in the future of this country if Donald Trump continues to be the voice of the GOP?
Yes. There's no short or longer answer than that. Yes, we're going to see more of this. Why? It worked. The President of the United States literally has declared tens of millions of Americans threats to democracy. He said they're domestic terrorists. He's labeled them as Nazis. He has gone down this path of demonizing a complete political movement in this country. And that is something that isn't going to go away, and it's because it plays to their base. So is that going to disappear? Absolutely not. They're going to label us every terrible thing under the sun. And anybody that even remotely supports Trump is going to, be tarnished with that taint. And, they're trying to make it so that people can't support him. Whether that's going to work long term or not, we shall see.
Well, that was my next question is, do you think it's going to work, and will it intimidate enough people, or will it even make people shy away and just say, I don't want to be part of that battle, I just need to walk away because it's just too divisive right now?
I think Trump is he's a lightning rod. When all is said and done, I still think the Republican Party's got to come to grips with the Trump factor, and that is you can't ignore him, you can't disregard him, and it doesn't pay to fight with him or demonize him. The Republican Party has got to come to grips with Trump. He and his movement and his followers are a force to be reckoned with, and they keep trying to ignore it. They keep trying to find ways around it. They've tried investigating it into oblivion. Here he declares himself president, and within a week, they've formed a special counsel to go after him. And while all at the same time saying, oh, no, this isn't political.
Yeah, and it hasn't worked.
This is ridiculous.
It is. It hasn't worked. Blaine, we got to take a hard break here. Stick around here. When we come back, I want to talk about moving forward as well. Some of the silencing, some of the censorship, and some of the quote-unquote misinformation that's out there, because that's what they're using as we move forward with the political battles. It's Blaine Pardoe, BlainePardoe.com. We'll do that when we come back right here on a Tuesday for the Voice of Reason
with Andy Hooser.
Andy Hooser here, reminding you not only can you listen to the Voice of Reason on your favorite radio station, but also check out the video of the program on TV and online. We're excited to be working with our partners over at OpsLens to bring the Voice of Reason live every day on their website at OpsLens.com, on the OpsLens app that you can download on any of your smartphones, or on any of the OpsLens social media. It's a great network that broadcasts multiple shows promoting truth, reason, and common sense, reaching thousands of viewers every day, all day long. Plus, while you're there, you can always watch some of the best highlights of the show during the weekends, or read our latest opinion columns on topical issues of the day. Also, if you want to interact with me during the program, just leave a comment on their social media or the OpsLens app stream. You can always join the live chat rooms, or if it's easier, just email me at HooserMediaNetwork@gmail.com. Again, that's HooserMediaNetwork@gmail.com. This is your show, and we want to hear from you. Why? Because it's time for you to be your own voice of reason in your own community. Hey, it's Andy Hooser. You want some more reason throughout the day? Well, now it's easier than ever to find. Here's what you do. Check out the website at HooserReason.com. There you can find past shows, links to all of our social media, special features, our monthly blogs, and a heck of a lot more. Plus, make sure to check in frequently, as we're constantly working to add more goodies that you'll really enjoy. Also, you can always subscribe and follow our social media sites for bonus content, articles that we use on the show, or maybe some additional rants. Yeah, it's all that and so much more. Check it all out at HooserReason.com. Hey, it's Andy Hooser. Want to reach out to the show? A big part of the program is you, and we want to hear from you. Let us know your thoughts of the show, maybe a guest we've had on the program, or my favorite, when you disagree with something that I talk about. You can email me at HooserMediaNetwork@gmail.com, or send us a message through our website at HooserReason.com. The show's not about me, it's about you. So be heard and be your own voice of reason. Again, email me at HooserMediaNetwork@gmail.com, or find our contact information at HooserReason.com. Hey, it's Andy Hooser. As we continue to grow as a radio and TV program, we're continuously working behind the scenes to try and bring more common sense and reason to more patriotic Americans all over the country. That's why we're super excited to be working with the OpsLens team to bring you the voice of reason every single day. OpsLens is a national online network bringing you incredible content all day from hosts all over the country. And each host brings their own unique experience and expertise to the current events, reaching hundreds of thousands of patriotic Americans daily. Make sure to check out their website at opslens.com. Make sure to download the OpsLens website and follow them on all of these social media sites that you like, so you can watch all of their live streaming content, including ours right here with The Voice of Reason. Plus, if you want more of The Voice of Reason, check out our website online at HooserReason.com. There you can listen to the live audio feed of the show every single day. You can read our monthly blog. You can check out our satire infomercials. You can see pictures of what we're doing, upcoming schedule of events, and a heck of a lot more. On the website, you can find our list of radio and TV affiliates in your area. Find our social media links, and while you're there, sign up for our free newsletter. Over the last 2 years, your Voice of Reason newsletter has grown exponentially. It's completely free, and in it we give you your monthly motivation, upcoming civic holidays for the month, a recap from the show from last month, upcoming guests on the program, along with the latest news from our Hooser Media Network. It's pretty simple. All you got to do is go to the website at HooserReason.com and become the next Hoosier-holic. Finally, follow us on all of our social media sites. With the iron grip control on content from the radical left, unless you follow us, you're not going to be able to see us. It's been an ongoing battle with shadow banning on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter, where even our own fans are having a hard time finding our content. But the battle isn't over. We'll continue to bring you the best content we can on as many platforms as possible. You can follow us with the handle at Hooser Reason. No matter what social media site you like to use, you can find us there. Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, Twitch.tv, Instagram, TikTok, OurFreedomBook.com, Parler, and of course our website at HooserReason.com. Don't miss it while we give you a heads up on some of the events that I may be attending or speaking at, updates of behind-the-scene projects, or just something sarcastic to try and rile up the left. The battle for freedom is real, and we want to be part of that battle, as we want you to be your own voice of reason in your own community. Conservative principles happen at the grassroots level, and that's what we're here to help with. And together, you and I can fight back against this virus that's spreading across the nation that is socialist policy, trying to destroy this country. We can bring us back to some constitutional values, some individual sovereignty, and the right for you to be able to make your own choices when you deem necessary for you, your family, and your community. In a world of fake news and information overload, it's time to bring back some reason, common sense, guidance, and a little bit of wisdom. And that's what we're here to do. This is The Voice of Reason.
Fighting for freedom every day. The Voice of Reason with Andy Hooser.
Darn right we are. Welcome back into the program. Thanks for hanging out with us today on a post-Monday celebration. The greatest day of the entire week. Also going into Thanksgiving just a couple days from now. What are you thankful for this year? There's lots to be thankful for, especially in the political realm. Right now we're hanging out with Blaine Pardoe, author, activist as well. So as we battle misinformation, remember the government just a few months ago tried to create their Disinformation Governance Board. Remember that? Well, as Dr. Fauci was on his way out with his last press conference today, talked about how to battle that disinformation of people talking about you don't need a vaccine. You can do it on the natural level. You don't have to wear a mask. All those misinformation guys. Even though, of course, he suppressed emails saying that, you know, and he openly said early on that the mask wasn't going to do anything because the virus was actually smaller for the molecules to get through the fabric of the cloth. So you need at least an N95 mask, which is not what we are mandating people to go about their daily lives. You know, just the regular stuff, but that's misinformation. And can't have that anymore. And Dr. Fauci tried to talk about how he battled it while he was in reign of power.
The way you counter misinformation and disinformation is that to do whatever you can as often as you can to provide correct information. The people who have correct information, who take science seriously, who don't have strange way out theories about things, but who base what they say on evidence and data, need to speak up more, because the other side that just keeps putting out misinformation and disinformation seems to be tireless in that effort. And it's going to be very difficult.
It's going to be very difficult. Well, I mean, I guess that's what you did, isn't it? the misinformation, disinformation. But I digress. You're out. We don't really care what you have to say any longer. But the battle against truth continues to live on, I guess, with that war. Blaine, as you talk about stuff, I mean, you've been silenced left and right. It's funny watching the other side just absolutely come after you. It's kind of fun to watch, isn't it?
Yeah, the cancel culture crowd came after me because I wrote Blue Dawn, which is just a alternate history political thriller about the progressives overthrowing the government. They came after me and got me fired after 37 years working for a franchise. But, I bounced back, and I bounced back even better than before. But, this cancel culture myth that, they're just putting information right, and that they're telling the correct version of the story, it all is based on the fact that they believe they know what's right. And it all comes down to who really does control what is the facts. When I was a kid and when you were younger, we had actual facts. Now, when anybody presents a fact, there are 3 or 4 people to present counterfacts. Yeah. And the only thing that you can do to sort through those is not censor people. I think that's a stupid idea. The best approach to that is to let people come to their own conclusions. Sometimes their conclusions may be wrong. Sometimes, most of the time, they're going to land on common sense solutions. And a lot of what you've been talking about, Andy, when it comes to, Fauci and the imposition of their rules and regulations when it came to this virus, was all overridden by common sense solutions. Them wiping down the, Walmart every 5 minutes, between every other customer, didn't slow the spread of this disease one bit. And everybody knows it.
Of course, putting a plastic barrier between the two of you at the cashier while you physically hand them the items for them to scan it is kind of an oxymoron when they're like, hey, we're going to put a piece of plastic over the credit card swiper when you punch in your codes, but yet everybody's still touching the plastic cover on there. We need to stop and think, is this really doing anything, or are we just doing this to make ourselves feel good? And I think that's where the division happened in this nation, because people went along with the feel-goods because they didn't have any other solution. And like you said, they love to live in fear. So if the government said this is going to help, then I might as well just go along with it.
Yeah, you've got a whole group of people, and they claim that they support science, but if anything is ever presented to them scientifically that is counter to their fact, they scream that it's a conspiracy theory. They label it. And that's what they do. They label things. They don't actually solve anything.
Exactly. Blaine, we're out of time, my friend. I know you have some great projects coming up here. We're going to get you back on the show again soon as more of those come to fruition, because they're coming after you, and it's sad, but at the same time, it's not unexpected, and I know that you're going to bounce back, and it's going to be bigger and better than ever, so I'm excited to talk about some of those projects. Blaine, it's always good to talk to you, my friend. Let's talk again here real soon.
Thanks for having me on, Andy.
Always a pleasure. Until then, that does it for us today. You can be thankful for many things going into Thanksgiving. We're back at it one more day tomorrow for a Wednesday before Thanksgiving Day. Until then, though, be your own catalyst of change. Be your own voice of reason in your community. Bring back that common sense, because that's what's going to prevail, what has to prevail at the end of the day. This is the Voice of Reason. I'm Andy Hooser. We'll see you on the radio. Hey, it's Andy Hooser. When I get off the air every day, the battle for me against limited government, censorship, and even unfactual content is far from over. That's why now I'm so happy to say that the Hooser Media Network is giving you more opportunity to catch the Voice of Reason, along with other great shows and podcasts. It's been a long time in the works, and now you can finally enjoy more great content, services, and topical shows. We're the safe space for alternative talk, information, and ideas that the mainstream media absolutely hates. From holistic and alternative medicine, discussions on religion and spirituality, pure entertainment shows, and of course yours truly with the Voice of Reason. Plus, we offer numerous media services, including helping you set up your own podcast. Become your own Voice of Reason and bring your expertise to any fun issue or topic.